I'm interviewing Kobe Fabian, the owner and director of Soul Foods African and Caribbean grocery store. And Kobe, could you please tell the viewers back home what is a typical working day like for you? So from the time you get up in the morning to when you go to bed at night, what is a typical working day for you?
I know you asked this question because Africans in particular live in an era what we call the black time, but life in the UK is totally different. Typical day for me starts at 5 a.m. I wake up in the morning and I've got to get my son ready for school before I can set off for business. Soul Food opens at 8 o'clock in the morning, so basically I have to leave home by 6:45. Within 15 minutes I'm in the shop. I need an hour to set the place up, make sure everything is in order before a customer walks in, and I do my little prayer as well, before I start business. So by 8 o'clock business is open, and to start with, I check my till, make sure I've got enough change for the customer. I check my freezers, make sure that all frozen stock is up to date, packaging is right, and if stock is not up to standard, we've got a backup in the chiller. I bring some of the stuff in and fill the freezer, and then sometimes it calls for repackaging in terms of big boxes. So like snapper, about 20 kilo snapper frozen fish needs to be broken down in packs of say 1 kilo or 5 pounds each, mackerel and things like that. I go, after I've done that, I check the shelves to make sure the same thing is also done. I face up, pull all the items that has been sold off from the front, because presentation is key. In this business you have to make sure that you present your items in a way that attracts the customer, makes the customer feel they want it. It's a bit of a business psychological game at the same time. You might have the what the customer needs, you might have the right goods, but if you present them anyhow, it's a kind of put off. It doesn't make them feel they want to buy, and sometimes it makes the customer even buy what they originally didn't plan to buy. So presentation is key, and I always talk to my partner in the business that always make sure that what is in the shop has been presented very, very well. So that is stage 2 done, and I go to my office. I open my software, check yesterday's sales, do the accounting of all yesterday's transaction. I load up all my invoices onto the system, check all my emails and see which ones need responding and which one needs working on and things like that. And then if there are any orders that needs to be sent out for delivery, I send those orders as well. So in this business, planning ahead is very important. Because what you don't want the customers to see or experience is, well, we are out of stock, we don't have it, come tomorrow, etc. So the only way to avoid that is planning ahead. When you plan ahead, you can avoid that. Yes. So that is generally my early morning activity. And then even though I'm the director, I'm also a customer service attendant. When I'm in the office and I see a customer walk in, I get off my seat and welcome the customer. Be nice to the customer, engage the customer, make sure they feel comfortable, ask them questions about if you can help them for what they need. It is very important when it comes to customer service, because it's the only thing that keeps a customer coming back to you all the time, apart from price. So customer service is very important. The way you talk to a customer, the way you smile. Sometimes you get bad responses from customers, but the customer is always right, as they say. So you maintain your composure and you make the customer feel welcome all the time. So that is what I do, but I know whenever I go on holiday to Ghana, customer service is non-existent in Ghana. It's an issue of take it or leave it. I remember one time I was window shopping. I was trying to look if I could buy an item, and I was turning it left, right, and the woman asked me, "Hey, are you buying or you're just looking?" If you're not buying, just leave it and go. But you can't do the same here, because competition is like war. Businesses are competing and giving customers 110%. So if you is not up to the mark and you think you can just give to customers anyhow, you will be out of business. And that is why African businesses are not doing very well as we do in the UK. They want to make the money, but they think they can just do it anyhow. Yeah.
So, what time does the shop close? And what do you do, before you go? And,
Yeah. So on a typical day, those are some of the things we do. An hour before we close, we normally close at 8 o'clock, winter time. Summertime, we can push it to 9 o'clock because the sun is on, people are buzzing, people go out and they go home late. So there's a lot of late shopping, sort of. So we stay a little bit late, a little bit longer to look after our customers, make sure we are always there for them. So we close at 9 o'clock. An hour before our close time, that is when we check the till, make sure the accounts for the day is being done, mop the floors and empty our bins and things like that, and then we close for the day.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. I noticed that you got some of our viewers will be looking at some of the yams, got some plantain there, got some okra, some garden eggs or nyadua. Where do you get your products from? Because I know, some of the viewers may be wondering where you get the products from. Is it straight from Ghana, or do you have to go all the way to London to get them, to bring them back to your shop?
Yeah. As you can see, we try and, in terms of vegetables, we try and maintain fresh produce all the time, and it's one of the things that keep bringing back our customers, because they know that when they come to soul food, you're guaranteed you get fresh produce. And we get our vegetables from East London, Spitalfield. There's a big market, over, I would say, about 6 acres, of a market.
Is that a Ghanaian market or?
No, it's an international market.
Okay.
You can have vegetables of all nations, over there. So we go there, we know the people we buy from, the people that sell African goods. They do the large quantities of imports, and then we go to buy it from them. So that is where I get my vegetables from. And also there are some big wholesalers within London that import all the stuff that Africans eat, like our Nestle Nido, the pig milk, the African Queen geisha, fufu powder, neat fufu, kokonte, and all that. They bring them in, in large quantities, and we go and buy from them. as a small business, we don't bother our head with going through the loops of importing goods from abroad. We've tried it before, and it was a bit of a hassle, you know, because we're a small business, and you know, we want to leave that for the big guys. Hopefully, when this shop expands and becomes bigger, we might not need to go through middlemen. We'll import directly, because then we can eliminate the middleman and, you know, make a bit more margins on what we sell.
From talking to you, it seems that it's quite a long day, and you know, you are responsible for most of the stuff. Like you're saying, you check your emails and you do the accounts. But I've just seen a brother behind you. So on that, do you employ people? And if you do, how many do you employ?
In the beginning, when we £2.99, £2 for £5, not £2 for £5. In the beginning, I had 2 staffs, including myself 3, because during that time I felt I needed a lot of extra hand, but I scaled it down to 1, including myself 2, because now, you know, we know the business a little bit more than we did before. So I can multitask some of the duties in the shop. I have, you know, 1 staff that supports me to man the place, and currently, you know, he does most of the till jobs, giving me the opportunity to do the office work, you know, check out stock levels, do my emails, go to the bank, and, you know, other auxiliary duties. Yeah, it gives me the opportunity to do that. Yeah, so we do employ, yes.
Sure. Okay, so the next question I would like to ask you is that, as a businessman, particularly a Ghanaian businessman, what are some of the challenges that you faced in terms of the shop itself and continuing to run the business?
When we first started, the reason why I put African and Caribbean is because I felt that it is important that I'm able to diversify, you know, my customer base, not just Africans but Caribbeans as well, so that I can capture quite a good chunk of the ethnic minority market. So we started selling African goods and Caribbean goods. It was a bit of challenge, because as an African man selling Caribbean goods, you know, a lot of the customers that comes into the shop, seeing that I'm not a Caribbean man but selling Caribbean goods, they were not too happy about that. You know, sometimes you get, you know, innuendos, you get abuse. You know, are you African? You know, why have you got Caribbean flag up there? You know, but it's one of the challenges in the business. You take it lightly, you smile. You know, there's a woman that came into the shop this morning. You know, she was one woman that abused me badly, to the point that her granddaughter had to, you know, shut her up. You know, but because I handle the situation very well, as I speak now, since that day she's always been coming to the shop.
Okay.
You know, she comes, and she's now a very good friend of mine.
Right.
She came this morning and she asked me, where have you been? I've not seen you for 2 months. I said I went on holiday. So this is a Caribbean who wasn't happy with the fact that an African was selling Caribbean goods, but now she's a friend. So that was one of the challenges that we face as a business. Another challenge that we faced as an African business is also patronage from the African community. I've been in Nottingham for quite a long time, and I have seen businesses come and go, And one of the reasons it happens is because a lot of these African businesses turn out to be small businesses, and they seek to rely on their own people.
Okay.
That is to say, the African community support them.
Yeah.
You know, because when you get your own people being loyal to you, you know, it gives you a customer base to start with. But most of the time, you realize that, you know, I would say your own people disown you. You know, and it's very painful. Sometimes you can see that, you know, a Ghanaian, a Nigerian, you know, an African, so to speak, you know, we just walk past your shop and go to the Turkish or Indian shop, you know, or Pakistani shop to buy the same things that you sell, simply because you're probably 20 pence dearer or just 10 pence dearer. You know, you go to the next shop to buy. So in the end, your next door competitors, you know, get the kind of clientele that are your own people, you know, which should have come to you. So then, you know, I ask myself, why don't we get our own people supporting our businesses? Because no group of people can be successful, you know, if they do not, you know, maintain the financial and economic base of their community. That is making their businesses within their community successful. Because when businesses within African communities are successful, it will trickle down to its own people.
Allen. Fuego.